I want to address this case of a status that guys think that, look, this is Jordan Peterson and his self-help. I say self-help is men being insecure about their status. High status men and the average woman are not concerned about self-improvement, and they aren't. And this young fella, Joe Francis, and I got in the back and forth about stuff like weight training, right? And this kind of self-improvement. Let's see if we can get it up. And this is Darius Hennon. They're generally high status because they care about self-improvement. So self-improvement is status gaining. Thanks for admitting this. Which means weight training, no fab, and cleaning your room are useless since they have nothing to do with gaining status, which is true. Here's another thing. Are you going to admit women go for status? Because this is why men become insecure about their status. The girls demand it or deselection time, right? And we go more back and forth. And he says, some do. I said, no, all do. Any guy who thinks otherwise is gullible, which he is. This guy and Joe Francis, lifting weights could possibly improve status. Saying it doesn't is pretty much nuanced, is a pretty unnuanced take. They love that word, nuance. But far be it from me. Anyway, he doesn't like Jordan Peterson. But of course, they want to think that status is there's a shortcut to status, and there isn't. Weight training itself gets you nothing. The status comes from winning contest, or in Arnold's case, gaining an acting career, which really gained him status. But it wasn't the training enough. The average guy who just weight trains and becomes strong or a better physique is not gaining status. Now look at Hitler. How much do you think Hitler can bench? How tall is Hitler? Look at those stunning, chiseled good looks. Yet Hitler got all the babes. He got all the BE-atches. Here's HistoryNet article. Talk about Hitler, right? Let's see. The women who loved Hitler. Look at them all. Look at all these ladies. They can't wait to get to this powerhouse, this giant, this Aryan giant with his chiseled good looks. Now, there is more to history. Oh, sorry. Yet there is much more to the story of the role that women played in the Third Reich than the official Nazi Party rhetoric suggests. As Hitler admitted, women played a not insignificant part in my political career. If anything, that is an understatement, right? The women he was referencing were not the rank and file female guards. But instead, these were the women who, because of their early proximity to Hitler or his top officials, facilitated the Nazis' rise to power and were complicit in the consequences right up to the end of the war. Women love supporting a man that they see has potential status, and that's not bodybuilding. Now, from his earliest days as a rabble-rouser in Munich, Hitler recognized the importance of appealing to women. As Dietrich Eckart, the founder of the tiny Germany Workers' Party, that soon transformed itself into the Nazi Party, explained in 1919, Germany needed a savior who would be a bachelor. Then we shall bring women in. He maintained it was a concept that Hitler adopted as his own, regularly explaining, "My bride is Germany." As difficult as it may be to imagine, this contributed to the sexually charged magnetism the young Hitler exuded. He presented himself as unattached to any woman, but married to his mission, that is, married to gaining status, making him theoretically unattainable, but for many of his female followers, an object of longing. Hitler got all the BE-atches, man. Him being a guy rising in status was turning them on. He was turning them on. His early rallies, Hitler deliberately placed female supporters in front row. We had a lively appreciation of women as a political influence. He knew what was going on. He knew what made men and women tick. His photographer, Heinrich Hoffmann, wrote in his memoir that their applause and enthusiasm helped ensure a good reception to his speeches. In other words, if the women liked them, the men liked them. And at a time when such gatherings often turned out into brawls, the women also served as a buffer, preventing his opponents from getting too near him. Yeah, this is basic understanding. Hoffman added, I should say, these women were the best propagandists the party had. They persuaded their husbands to join Hitler. You see, they didn't ask their husbands to lift weights. They attached him to a guy who had all kinds of potential of status and said, these will rise with him. They weren't in love with their husbands as they were. They wanted their husbands to be high status men. They sacrificed their spare time to their political enthusiasms, and they devoted themselves utterly and selfishly to the cause of the party's interest. In the case of the women who gained entry to what amounted to Hitler's court, the selfishly part did not always apply. As Nazi leaders' prospects improved, they were clearly motivated by their desires to elevate their husbands to powerful positions. There you go again. This is all about status gain. This is how their husbands were going to rise in position. It had nothing to do with self-improvement, did it? Now I'm going to bug up her name. Ilse Prohl, a student University of Munich, joined the Nazi Party in 21, explaining to a former teacher, we are anti-Semites, and consistently, rigorously, without exception. The two basic pillars of our movement, national and social, are anchored in the meaning of this anti-Semitism. Her future husband, Rudolf Hess, was leading the member of the fledgling party and constantly at Hitler's side. The couple were not only joined in marriage, Hitler's serving as the godfather of their only child, they also reinforced each other's blind devotion to the Fuhrer. She's one of the few readers of Hitler's autobiography. Okay, that may not have been that important. Unironically, the Weimar Republic, with its liberal laws and norms, offered a wide array of new opportunities for German women. Women were studying all sorts of subjects in the universities, law, economics, history, and engineering, and entering professions once reserved for men. See, technology changes things, right? Yet many women helped propel Hitler's drive to impose a totalitarian ideology that promised to reverse those gains. Why would they do that? They weren't silly. They weren't stupid. These women go to universities to find high status men, not because they want a career. And Hitler wanted women back in the kitchen, but that's all right. Even today, you have women that are housewives attached to high status men because that's what they really want to do. And that's why they were for it. Well, here's one. A trio of prominent women offered Hitler his entree into Bavarian high society, sprucing up his meager wardrobe, training him in the social graces, and introducing him to top industrialists and other influential figures. This included Helene Bechstein, the wife of owner of Bechstein Piano Company, Elsa Bruckmann, the wife of publishing magnate, and Richard Wagner's English-born daughter-in-law, who oversaw the prestigious Bayreuth Festival featuring the composer's works. Two of these women are married, and they were very attracted to Hitler. And who knows how many times they stepped out on their husbands with Hitler. Here's one here. In 21, Eckert introduced Hitler to the Becksteins, and Helene quickly took him under her wing. According to Otto Strasser, an early Nazi who later broke with Hitler, Beckstein was 13 years older than Hitler, lavished on him an ecstatic and faintly maternal devotion. She supplied him with new clothes and taught him table manners. Soon he was kissing women's hands at her salons like an old school gentleman. By most accounts, their relationship was platonic, but as Strasser recalled, the image they presented underscored Helene's devotion to Hitler. When they were alone or occasionally in front of friends, he would sit at his hostess' feet, lay his head on her opulent bosom, and closed his eyes while her beautiful white hand caressed her big baby's hair, disturbing the historic forelock on the future dictator's brow. As she did so, she would murmur, "Mein Wolfchen, my little wolf." See that? Do you hear that? All the ladies wanted Hitler because he was a rising star. As you see, does this man strike you as imposing? What is he, 5'8"? Look at all the muscles and the chiseled features and the stunning looks. And of course, he improved himself, right? Did he go and read all these books? Did he go to university and train himself in something? No, he rose in status, and the woman rose with him. They loved him. They were turned on by Hitler. So that's what I have to say about this.